Bernard Giles is a serial killer from the early 1970s. Now, within a 5 to 7 week period, he killed 5 women. And this is a great interview he did with Piers Morgan. We see all the red flags and cues of psychopathy. Let's take a look.
Bernard, thank you for giving us the time today.
Yes, sir.
You're serving 5 life sentences for killing 5 young women. So my first question is, did you kill those women?
Yes, sir, I did.
Now, what I look for in an answer like this is number 1, what's missing? And number 2, what's there that shouldn't be there? Now, keep in mind, he's killed 5 women within a 5 to 7 week span. And when he answers, there's no pause, there's no time to think. He just answers.
Did you kill those women?
Yes, sir, I did.
Now, we could look at this and say, well, he did it and he answered yes, and he was convicted for it. So saying yes, sir, I did is the answer we want. But what's missing?
Did you kill those women?
Yes, sir, I did.
What's missing is any kind of emotion whatsoever. There's nothing, no grief, no concern, no sadness, no happiness, no contempt, nothing. We do see him adjusting his seat a little bit. That's a cue of just a little bit of discomfort, but there should be more. Now pay attention to this with every question. Not only what do you see, but most importantly, what's missing?
The curious thing about your early life is there doesn't seem to be anything there. There was no appalling upbringing. You were one of 4 kids.
Yeah.
You were well taken care of.
My brothers and sisters have done well.
You were loved as a child.
Yes.
Now, Piers is pointing out that up until that point where he killed these women, everything seemed normal. He was a normal kid, had a good upbringing. And when he says, obviously you were loved.
You were loved as a child.
Yes.
Now, the yes was weak and it was odd sounding because he's not sure if he was loved or not because he doesn't know what love is and he doesn't know what that feels like.
You were loved as a child.
Yes.
And again, he doesn't move much here at all. And that's odd for a normal person.
When you were 16, there was a young woman walking in front of you and you suddenly felt an urge to kill her. Tell me about that.
It was like an opportunity that had presented itself to me. And this woman was getting into a VW, and I had a knife. And I went past the car, and fortunately, I kept going. I just kept going.
That looks fairly normal. He's rubbing in his ear. He's using illustrators. His voice doesn't go up and down volume-wise. Everything seems okay here. He seems like a normal person almost. Quite often, serial killers will take a run at it the first couple of times before they kill somebody. And that's because they haven't worked out their protocol yet, what they're going to do, how they're going to do it. And this opportunity that presented itself to him, let him run that scenario in his head. He got to think about how he was going to do this if he was going to do it. It's like mental rehearsal. And that's just about as normal as he's going to look from here on out.
What were you feeling in that moment?
Extraordinarily hyped.
And what were you thinking you may do to that woman?
Well, if it had gone the other way, I'd have murdered her.
At the age of 16?
Yes, sir.
Again, he shows zero emotion when he's telling Piers how extraordinarily hyped he felt.
Extraordinarily hyped.
What's so scary here is how comfortable he is talking about how he would have killed that woman if it had gone the other way. The most likely reason he liked murdering women was because it made him feel something. And psychopaths can't feel anything because their brain isn't working properly. There's a lot that goes on with that, but the main thing we usually deal with when it comes to psychopathy, or what we usually talk about, are the amygdala. And it's 2 little things about as big as almonds, and they're right in here. You go in about 1.5 inches, and that's where they are. That's part of the limbic system, what gives you feelings and what gives you empathy and sympathy. And when it's on, it sort of protects you from what's going on out in the world. Is something trying to attack you? Is something going to hurt you? How do you like this? If you don't like this, is it making you mad? What's happening? And usually the amygdala are missing, they're damaged, or they're just not working properly. Those aren't the only things that are involved with psychopathy. Don't think that, because you've got the frontal lobe, you've got the parietal lobes, you've got all kinds of things going on in there that aren't connecting properly. And that's what makes up psychopathy. And they don't feel sorry, they don't feel happy, they don't feel anything for anybody else. They have no empathy, they have no sympathy for anyone else. Now, there's a big difference in sympathy and empathy. Sympathy is when you see someone hit their hand and you go, oh, I'm so sorry that happened to them. You know, if they're hammering something, and that must have hurt. I feel bad about that. Empathy is when that person can put themselves in the place of the person getting their hand hit by the hammer and they go, oh, man, Dang it, I'll bet that hurt. They can't do that. They can't put themselves in your place if you're feeling something and see and try to imagine how you may feel about something. We did a thing a while back called the Psychopath Awards, and everything I talk about psychopaths is in that award show. And we gave out awards, the Psychopath Award, to different psychopaths. And in that show, the goal was to show everything that makes up a psychopath and what to look for, from the psychopathic stare all the way down to, again, sympathy and empathy, how there is none and why that is. Everybody's in it. All the stars of body language are in it. So check that out. I think you might like it. I'll put a link below.
I mean, it's a chilling thing to hear. This is not, I'm sure you recognize this. This is not a normal
Oh, I understand that.
None of this feels normal.
Sir.
You're 16 years old and you have just this extraordinary compulsion to kill this woman.
Yes, sir.
But it passed. You moved on.
Yes, sir. It just wasn't overwhelming. It didn't, it was just, and I didn't. I just kept moving.
When Piers says this is not normal, none of this feels normal, Bernard doesn't say, oh, I know it doesn't. He says, I understand that. So he's saying, in other words, I don't know what normal is. I don't know what abnormal is, but I understand what I did was abnormal. That wasn't normal.
I'm sure you recognize this. This
Yes,
is
sir.
not a normal
Oh, I understand that.
It doesn't seem like much, but when you get to talking to these things, these psychopaths, those are the kind of things you look at and listen for, because this doesn't make him feel anything, nothing. And how do we know that? Because we don't see any change in the emotions on his face. We don't see anything in the brow. We don't see anything in the mouth. We don't see anything in the eyes. We see nothing. Nothing changes that show us he's going through any kind of emotion whatsoever. He knows what he did was not normal, but he doesn't feel like it wasn't normal. So at age 16, he had those urges to do this, but it was building up and it was building up and he hadn't done it yet.
You're 16 years old and you have just this extraordinary compulsion to kill this woman.
Yes, sir.
And in situations like this, it keeps growing until it becomes a compulsion and they feel like they have to do it.
And if you hadn't kept moving, that woman
Would have been murdered.
and she would have no idea to this day, I imagine.
No, she never even glanced back at me.
You wished you had killed her.
No, I don't. I'm glad that I didn't. I wish I hadn't killed any of my victims.
There's a whole lot going on here. And what I want you to focus on is Piers, because when he asks a question, he just zips it. He just sits there and waits. Even though Bernard has answered, he still waits. He doesn't say anything. And he's doing that because he's waiting for him to say something else. Quite often, when you're talking to a normal person, a person with a normal brain who's not a psychopath, when you have that long space, when you say something, when you ask them something and they answer, and you just keep looking at them, it gets uncomfortable. And what they want to do is the normal person will start talking again to make that uncomfortable feeling go away, not with a psychopath. So Piers knows that, and he just keeps waiting to see if anything happens. And quite often, that will get you so much more information for your answer. If you travel a lot like I do, you know how important it is to stay organized. That's why I got rid of my old wallet, and I use this one from Exeter. When you do ads for companies, they'll send you the thing they want you to do the ad for so you can show it. This is my wallet. I already had one, so I know all about it. This thing here is a little button you push, squish it in like that. It's made out of aluminum. It's not cheap plastic. And all your cards pop up. It holds up to 14 of them. Back there's my gas card. I know where that is because I use it all the time. When you're done with your cards, bang, squish it down like that. Also, it has that RFID thing around it so nobody can sneak up on you and steal your information. When you open it up, it's got this thing here. It's like a little money clip so you can keep your cash in there. It's also got room for a couple more cards in there. I keep my health insurance and my car insurance thing in there if I have an accident or something. Also, it's got these customizable add-ons you can use or you can get. And this one is the Finder card. And I use this one. You connect it with your phone. You put it in your wallet. So if you lose your wallet, you'll know where it is. Your phone will show you. Have I ever lost my wallet? Yeah, once, but it was in the car. You can also put it in your luggage. When you're at the airport, you'll know exactly where your luggage is. Extra also has a vacuum sealer for clothes when you travel. Put your clothes in this little plastic bag, seal it up, sucks all the air out, you're good to go. It makes everything a lot smaller. Now check this out. Extra has a sale going on for Mother's Day. Until May 18th, everything is 45% off. And if you use Rouse 20 as the code, you get 20% more off. ROUSE 20. So if you want to upgrade your everyday carry or just make travel easier, Check out Exeter. The link is below, or use the QR code.
And she would have no idea to this day, I imagine.
No, she never even glanced back at me.
And what's interesting with Bernard here is when he says victims, listen to how quiet that is.
I wish I hadn't killed any of my victims. Victims, victims, victims.
And the reason he wishes he hadn't killed these people is because it took his freedom away. He couldn't be out running around doing the things he wanted to do. And when he gets to the word victims, it's so quiet because we call that fading facts. When someone's giving you information that they're not sure about, they're not confident about, it'll get quieter and quieter. Quite often that person is being deceptive.
I mean, there'll be viewers watching this going, this guy was apparently normal, late teenage guy. He's got married, he's got a little baby girl. Life seems fine, and yet ticking away is this horrific time bomb.
And that's very frequently been the case, that you have people that they present as perfectly normal.
Now, he understands he's not the only one in the world like him, and he's been reading about psychopathy. And we know that because he says you have people who present as perfectly normal. Now, that's what I call study talk. And by that, I mean he's read a whole lot of studies about, or some books about psychopathy. And I read studies about psychopathy all the time. It's my hobby. It's what I love to do more than anything, is to learn about that. And when you're talking to somebody who has also been learning about psychopathy or reading studies or books about it, they'll say things like the way it presents itself. They won't say, well, that's the way somebody acts when you get in that situation. So he's talking like in other words, he's repeating what he's heard or read in a study or a book.
And that's very frequently been the case, that you have people that they present as perfectly normal.
But that lets us know he's interested in why he's different. He wants to know what's wrong with him. He wants to understand why he's different than everyone else. And you'll hear that from a lot of psychopaths.
Giles is relatively unusual in that he started, his age of onset for the serial killing was age 20. He's unusual because he did a spate of 5 killings within 3 months with almost no cooling off period. That's highly unusual.
Now, this woman's name is Dr. Casey Jordan, and I got to meet her at CrimeCon. We got to hang out some, and she's a good hang. She's a good person. And all she does is interview psychopaths and serial killers. So she and I got along great.
Usually mid-20s is the advent of the first acting out on the fantasy. There's a long cooling off period of at least a month before the second one. He was acting almost in a frenzy. He was too young and too immature to put enough thought into his crimes to get away with them. There was no way it was sustainable. So it was almost like a childish urge to get as much fun crammed into a short space of time as possible before he got caught. Because inside, he knew he would eventually get caught.
I absolutely loved her. And if you get a chance, look her up on YouTube, because all she does is talk about psychopaths and serial killers. Dr. Casey Jordan. She's a great hang and a great person, and she's brilliant when it comes to these things.
What was your criteria for a victim?
Access.
To any woman?
Yes, sir.
Did it matter how old they were or what they looked like? Or
Generally speaking, no.
Again, the scariest thing about Bernard Giles is not that he's a monster. It's that he's a monster and he doesn't look like a monster. When somebody can discuss killing people with the same emotional tone as they do when they're talking about the weather, there's a huge emotional detachment there. Now, keep in mind, this calmness and stillness we're seeing, it doesn't mean he's emotionally at peace with everything. Most likely it's control, and he's used to this. He's been in prison a long time, and he's talked about this a whole lot, and he's read about it, the things he's done, and other people that have done the things like he's done. He's read about those people as well. So he understands that being still is control. And sometimes after you've been in prison for decades, that sort of becomes your body language default, is just being very still.
the first victim, you remember the name, but do you remember the names of any of the victims?
No, sir.
None at all?
No.
They meant nothing to you?
Why would I do that? Why would someone embrace the names of of their victims? I saw these women as objects.
There it is, one of the huge red flags of psychopathy. If he had seen these people as humans, if he'd gotten to know them, wouldn't be able to kill them. So he literally sees his victims, in other words, like bugs or players in a video game, that kind of thing. They're not real. They're not human. They weren't real people to him. After this next clip, we're going to get into why that's important that you know that.
Some women actually saved their lives by engaging me in conversations.
How many?
3 I can think of right off. I actually went to the home of one. It got in a conversation about smoking marijuana. We drove around the neighborhood, and I let her off at her house.
And what were you thinking you may do to that woman?
Well, if it had gone the other way, I'd have murdered her.
If you take nothing else from this video, remember what he just said.
Some women actually saved their lives by engaging me in conversations.
Because what happened was the woman unknowingly saved her own life by just starting a conversation with him. She humanized herself, and he saw her as a person.
Some women actually saved their lives by engaging me in conversations.
He got to know her a little bit. Not very well, but he got to know just enough to make him feel like she was human. That's what you want to do. If you ever find yourself in a situation like that and you're sitting there in the car with that person and you're going somewhere, or you're sitting there waiting on somebody to leave so this person can do whatever it is they're going to do, and you know that's going to happen, engage with them, talk to them, get to know them, make them feel like they know you, make them feel like you're a human. Once you get them to humanize you, your odds of surviving that go way up. And this isn't the only guy to talk about this. This isn't the only psychopath to describe this.
Some women actually saved their lives by engaging me in conversations.
So make yourself relatable to the criminal or the person you think is going to hurt you.
What I struggle with you, you kill 5 women, but all the time you're going back to your marital home.
Yes, sir.
With Leslie, your wife, and your daughter, Heather.
Sir.
How are you functioning in normal married life in this extraordinary 12, 13-week period?
Badly.
What do you mean?
I don't know. It was just, as this thing's taking me over, I'm kind of disintegrating as a person. Me and my wife are fighting all the time. I'm out. It's obsessions take you over.
For me, one of the most interesting things about serial killers is that they'll lead a double life. In other words, they're out doing all these horrific things to people and killing them and everything else. Then they go home and nobody knows they're doing that. They look and act normal. Rex Heuermann, perfect example. I'm sure you've seen that interview with him. You can tell he's a narcissist in that thing. And you can tell there are a couple of things that might be on the edge of getting on his last nerve. But he doesn't blow up or anything, doesn't go freaking out and try to kill the guy interviewing him or anything. And then you have people like Ted Bundy. Man, that guy looked totally normal. Everybody liked him. All the girls thought he was good looking, thought he was very charming, and he was, obviously. And he was just some dude, is what they thought. But no, he was a serial killer. Then you got people like John Wayne Gacy and BTK, Lord knows how many others. And everybody just thinks they're normal. But like Bernard said earlier, you have people who present as perfectly normal.
Did you get any urge to kill your wife?
No.
Never?
No.
Why not? She was there, she was a woman.
I knew her. You know, I never killed anybody I knew. It's that thing about objectification of the victim. For me, that was an important element.
Again, he couldn't kill somebody he knew, somebody he saw as a human, not somebody he saw as a bug or a video game character or something like that. And that's the same, like I said before, with a lot of other serial killers as well. Then you have somebody like Ed Kemper, who lived with his mom, and he killed her and did some other horrible stuff too. And you have people who will live with their parents and they'll kill both of them, even though they know them, even though they're their parents. Psychopathy can take so many twists and turns when it comes to behavior. So I think that's why it fascinates me so much, and that might be the reason it fascinates you too.
When you were caught, was it a relief?
No, it wasn't a relief.
Were you angry because it meant you probably wouldn't be able to kill again?
No, I wasn't angry. Life got very complicated.
This is the most stress we've seen in all these clips. We've seen very little stress so far. Granted, psychopaths, it's hard to stress them because they don't get stressed usually. But in this situation, he's stressed when he's talking about getting caught.
When you were caught, was it a relief?
No, it wasn't a relief.
And he rubs his hands down his legs, and he actually, I think, becomes a little bit uncomfortable. He ends up pushing his glasses up, moving around too much. That's stress. And at the end there, when he doesn't know what fake emotion to exhibit, he smiles a little bit when he says, life became complicated.
Life got very complicated.
This is what I'm talking about when I talk about how psychopathy fascinates me, because theoretically, he shouldn't be feeling anything. He shouldn't be feeling stress at all because he's a psychopath, right? But we see it on him. So it doesn't mean he's not a psychopath. And then in reality, we can't say he's for sure a psychopath. I'd put all my money being on he's a psychopath, but you can't diagnose one from watching a video. But you can get a pretty dang good idea if they are or not from watching a video like this. And one of the main things you look for in a psychopath is the lack of stress when things like that come up. So psychopathy, it's fascinating.
I mean, what would you feel about a man who snatched your daughter and terrorized and killed her?
I certainly wouldn't appreciate it.
That's it? That's how you'd feel?
Like I said, I certainly wouldn't appreciate it.
There it is again. If his daughter was treated the way he treated other people's daughters, how would he feel about that? He wouldn't appreciate it. He's not mad. He's not giving examples of what he would do to the person that did something like that to his daughter. Nothing. We don't see any anger. We don't see any stress. We don't see any empathy or sympathy. He's not showing any emotion at all, not even a little bit. And that's what you're looking for in a true psychopath.
I certainly wouldn't appreciate it.
That's it? That's how you'd feel?
Like I said, I certainly wouldn't appreciate it.
So there you have it. Piers Morgan's interview with Bernard Giles. If you have any questions about body language, just email me. bodylanguagequestions@gmail.com, and I'll get right on it.